One thing I would say President Trump is right about, and that's we need to get the economy moving again. Now, I have criticized the president for his response to the coronavirus at the beginning, and I'm not going to rehash now all the points I made earlier about how we were negligent in the beginning at how we faced this new crisis. But with that understood, we're going to have to do something to get the economy going again. And I'm looking at all the comments and procedures we have put in place by leadership. And I agree that social distancing is important, should be put in place. I understand that. This coronavirus, this COVID-19 is not like the seasonal flu. Our numbers have increased exponentially since the start of this thing. I looked at, again last night, I reviewed President Trump's rally in Charleston, South Carolina back on February 28, when at that time he touted that the United States only had 15 cases and no deaths. And so here we are on April 8th. And we have almost 400,000 cases of the coronavirus here in the United States and almost 13,000 deaths, and that's what's confirmed. The number most likely is much higher than that. So it's a serious event. Right now, the leadership is still saying shelter in place. Okay. But what's going to happen here is when we get the full scope of this pandemic, and that's going to be with the April unemployment numbers. When they come out, it's going to be some hellacious numbers. There's just no doubt that so many people have lost their jobs or either lost them or on furlough. And the unemployment benefits, I think it's over 10 million people have filed for unemployment benefits here in the last month or so, which means that the unemployment rate when it comes up in April is going to be a crazy number. 10% for sure, could be as high as 20% unemployed. That number is going to be frightening for a lot of people who are in place at home, and the psychological toll of that is going to be huge. And right now leadership is not thinking about, at least they're not putting out what the summer is going to look like, what the fall is going to look like, because we can't continue to stay inside. I get that, and we can't go outside like we did just before, because even if the numbers come down, since we hadn't tested everyone, there still will likely be folk who are infected with the virus, and where we can start all over again. So what can we do? What should we be doing? One, leadership should be making a way to make sure that everyone gets tested, whether you are in a high-risk situation or not. I agree that we should start with high-risk situation of people, but everyone should be tested simply, if for no other reason that it has been shown that people with no symptoms have been carrying this virus. So the government should be thinking. This is federal government. Corporate America should be thinking. This is all the CEOs of all the companies. At the state level, governors should be thinking. Mayors should be thinking. How can we get everyone tested so we can truly know how far this virus has reached, what areas are harder hit than others. So that's the first thing. We should be planning on getting tests for everyone. This is for getting ourselves geared up to work in the age of the coronavirus. Secondly, we should be making ways to see that everyone has masks. Everyone should have masks. We can start with the people who are essential, expand it out to people who jobs cannot be done at home. And then we can work toward making sure even people who work at home get masks, because people still have to be out and about, spend money to keep the economy going. We should have masks and gloves for everyone. Students, kids, elementary age school children should be outfitted for masks. We should be looking at a mask world for the immediate future, because we can't stay inside all the time. We're going to have to venture back out there. We have to venture out there amongst this virus if it's still out there. But we got to get back to work. So what President Trump should do is evoke that wartime act where he can command industry to produce these masks. And we should be producing masks so that every American has these masks, so that we can get back to work. And then everyone should be required to wear these masks in public. We should be putting this in place right now. Now, I know plan A is for this virus to magically disappear. And Lord knows I hope that it could magically disappear by summer. But if it doesn't, if plan A doesn't pan out, then we have to fall back on plan B. And right now, plan B appears to be, let's stay inside for the foreseeable future. Well, that's not likely. We can't do that. And this is where President Trump was correct. We can't have the cure bigger than the disease. And if the cure is staying inside and not going back to work, we can't do that. We can't keep that up. So we're going to have to figure out, how can we go back to work? And right now, that's one, again, testing everyone, and then two, putting masks on everybody. And then we're going to have to get back out there and get back to work. See what that looks like. Because saving us from coronavirus is great, but if we have a slow economic death, then what's the point? And this is where people were, President Trump deserves some criticism about some things, don't get me wrong. But that aspect of let's get back to work, maybe he was a little overly optimistic about having that done by Easter, but we got to get back out there. And that's the way to do it. Test everybody, mask everybody. Test everybody, mask everybody. And then have the scientists continually to work on a vaccine. And until that vaccine gets placed, we're going to test and mask. Test and mask. That should be what's going to get us back out there, because we got to get back to work. We got to get this economy. We can get through this, but leadership has got to be more visionary about what a post-coronavirus world looks like, and we got to prepare for it. And that's what we're not doing as leadership. Step one, social distancing to slow this thing down. But step two, how can we get the economy moving again? That's very important. Very important. So those will be the steps I would suggest. I would suggest that you write your congressman, write your leadership, and tell them that we're going to have to get back out there. There's some people out there now. They know, they work, they shelter in place, and their bills are not getting paid. And that the money that from the stimulus package that's been sent out, for a lot of people, that's a drop in the bucket. It's not going to help long term. It's not. It's not. Maybe it's going to buy somebody some food. Maybe it'll give somebody some rent money. But it surely is not going to be enough. We have to work. And we can't go back out there like we were before. I'll be the first to admit that. But we got to get back out there. So test and mask. Test and mask would be the key to it. And I think if we take those steps, we can get better as a nation sooner rather than later. Even when you're looking at the sports arenas, I can envision arenas full with masked people, and so people can get back to work. Mask for right now would be the way of life, I would imagine. Another thing about this coronavirus, I think it's going to be set up kind of like our hurricane, where you get the worst of it, and then it's going to be a little calm in the middle as people settle in, and it's going to look like everything's okay, and then we're going to come up on the outside of it where it's going to get worse again. And I think if leadership sets those expectations, when those things happen, it won't take people by surprise, and we can keep on going. So they might be a little eye of this thing where everything looks calm while we all shelter in place. But as we get ready to go back out into the world, to the workforce, until we get these other procedures put in place, it could get a little worse before we're able to be on the other side of this storm. But we can get through it, but we got to be smart about it. Conspiracy theorists, people, I understand you want to get to the bottom of some things, and I know you are distrustful of government. But right now, just shooting out conspiracy theories, you're not being helpful. We need real-time solutions right now. There'll be plenty of time to shoot out conspiracy theories. There'll be plenty of time to keep up the liberals versus the conservatives, the left versus the right. There's plenty of time to do that. There's going to be plenty of time to criticize President Trump. I got my criticism out in the video a couple weeks back, but now it is time to get America back on track. So, again, we got to get back to work. Everyone has got to do their jobs. Everybody got a job to do. Scientists, figure out a vaccine. Government leaders, lead. Workers, get ready to follow what our walking orders are from leadership, provided that leadership is coming up with some structural plans to get us moving again, which again should include masking and testing, baby. Testing and masking, masking and testing, however you want to say it. That's what we're going to have to do for the foreseeable future, so we can get people back working again in the summers. We might have to spend beaches when we go to the beach over the summers. Everybody's masked up, gloved up, whatever we got to do. But we're going to have to come out of our homes and get back to work. Test everyone, mask everyone.